Hello everyone, I am back home, back in Australia after a month-long journey overseas to Europe, and I hope that you've been watching my travel vlogs because I actually posted, I believe, 11 videos from that European trip, from the 4 weeks in Europe, and I went to 8 countries during my stay there. I didn't vlog from every single one because Germany and France, I was there only really briefly, but all up it was a fantastic thing. It was such an amazing stay. I think I got so much from it, and actually more, because I learned that things are much easier in Europe than I expected or anticipated after being in Australia for 14 years. 14 years in Australia. It was meant to be forever, but 14 years feels like quite enough. And to be honest, I actually can't wait to be back in Europe. Let's have a chat about that. Let's have a chat about what's been happening since I came back, since I got back here. Miss Rosie is fine as well. She was home the entire time. She didn't have to go to a category because I found a house sitter who stayed with her, who was basically living in the house with her, this lovely woman. And so I didn't have to take Rosie to the category. So that worked out great. Miss Rosie was very happy with that. And she actually welcomed me very happily when I arrived from the airport after being away for a month. And it was wonderful to see that she didn't forget me, that she wasn't even confused at first. She was just pairing for like almost 24 hours straight, which was awesome. Anyways, I'm gonna take my lovely tea and take myself to my office, where it's gonna be more comfortable than hanging on my kitchen counter. So if you want to know what it's like being back in Australia, it's kind of strange. This has been my home for such a long time, for 14 years. This is a huge chunk of time to call a place your home and then to realize that you don't want to be there anymore. And that's how it feels. I actually cried a little on the way back here from Europe, because all my heart, my entire being, like all of my system just wanted to be back in Europe, because my heart seems to be there at this stage and not in Australia anymore. And so, because my family is there, and because there's so much happening there and such a variety there and so many things to see and explore, even though I haven't been everywhere here in Australia, I kind of feel like I've done Australia. And there's still so much, like so many adventures in Europe, awaiting me in Europe. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And you know, my family is like the biggest aspect of it all, because I got to spend beautiful quality time with different members of my family, with my closest family and also a bit of my extended family. So being surrounded by people who are my family on such a consistent basis for a month in one way or another was just really opening my eyes to how much I miss that, how much I need that, how much nurturing, love and care and joy I get from being with my family, and that I've been sort of cutting myself off of that source of love and joy and care for the last 14 years, because I've been only coming back sporadically. Kinda sucks to say this right now, but I don't want to be in Australia anymore. I can't wait to go back to Europe. I just want to be there now. And I am here because, well, I had a flight to catch, so I had to get back to Australia. But I am basically here to wrap up my life here. So to prepare to empty my house, to prepare it to be rented out, so that's one big project. And speaking to an agent, obviously, about taking care of the place and finding a tenant. So that's one big aspect of things. And then another one, I guess, is just running my business and working on a new online course that I started filming or started working on before I went to Europe. So I'd love to have that finished before I go back to Europe. And so when it comes to when I'm going back, well, I'm thinking February at this stage, which is not too far away. Like, February is only 3 months away, so I've got November, December, January to take care of everything and my life here in a way. I still have my flights to New Zealand, which I'm very excited about. I'm going to be in New Zealand for Christmas to spend it with my friends. And it's also going to allow me to enjoy the Australian summer while it's the depth of European winter on the other side of the globe. So when I go in February, while it's still gonna be winter there, it's gonna be the end of winter and sort of moving into spring. And something really big that I kind of forgot about, I think, because I haven't been back in any kind of cold weather in a long time, is that Europeans really know how to deal with cold weather. This whole time that I spent here in Australia struggling with winters and how cold it's been and how I feel miserable, and I kind of just hibernate for a few months because I feel so cold and uncomfortable. I've been kind of forgetting that in Europe, central heating is so good and so efficient, and it works everywhere. The radiators are so good and so efficient at making places warm. And there's also that other aspect of building the houses, so that they are really well insulated and they don't let in too much cold, and they basically keep the warmth inside. So I was waking up in my parents' place being, nice and cozy and warm and not struggling at all, even though it was quite cold outside. And then I remembered all those mornings here in Australia where for like 3 months straight I would be waking up in a house that was basically as cold as the weather outside. So if it was 5 degrees outside, my house would be 5 degrees inside, and that's really cold. And so while I'm still not a fan of winters at all, they're not that bad when you have a well insulated and heated, centrally heated house or apartment. It's quite, doable. So at this stage, I've been doing a lot of research online as well, because I still have some questions that I need answered. And before going to Europe, I was thinking that I would settle in Italy. And that was a big reason why I actually spent there 2 weeks of my entire stay in Europe, because I was exploring, researching, and figuring out if Italy is the right place for me. After being there, I figured that it probably wasn't. But that's good to know earlier rather than later, but it still kind of didn't answer my question about where I should settle and where I should live in Europe. So I've been doing research, and I've been doing kind of research on two levels. Because like the questions I'm facing is, where do I want to base myself tax-wise? Because being a digital nomad, being a person that is free to be geographically like wherever I want, I can make that decision, and I can base my my tax affairs and my business in a place where it's most kind of efficient or easy or convenient for me to do so. And then there's also the question of where I actually want to be spending most of my time, and there's still a question mark there. And I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna Airbnb my way through Europe, spending a month in each country and just exploring and seeing what it's like, you know, for myself, experiencing each country to see what calls me and where I want to be spending my time, you know. Maybe I'll never settle anywhere. That's also possible. We'll have to see. But from a point of view of that business / tax affairs kind of, you know, residency, that very surprisingly to me, what actually is coming forward in my search is Estonia. It seems like Estonia has a special e-residency program that allows you to base your online company there from wherever you are in the world. You don't even have to be physically in Estonia to do that. They've digitalized their country, you know, and they've really simplified bureaucracy. So it just makes a lot of sense that Estonia might be the right place to do it, because I guess the easiest choice would be to do it in Poland. Like, most of my family is there and they already know everything and I know the language, so it would be just easy to get advice or help, you know, in setting up things without struggling with, you know, the language barrier or looking for people who can help me, accountants, etc., to set up my life and my tax affairs in Poland. Like, Poland just makes a lot of sense. However, Poland is not great from other perspectives, like, for example, bureaucracy. So I will actually need to sit down with an accountant in Poland and ask a lot of questions, because even after doing in-depth research about setting up a business and running a business in Poland, I still have a lot of questions and I don't know how to apply them to my particular situation. I'm doing the research, I'm getting sort of certain level of clarity about where's good, where's not good, etc. But once I'm in Europe, I actually need to talk to certain people, accountants, consultants, etc., and figure out, you know, what is the best situation for me and the best solution for me. And one last piece, just a little bit of a sad note, I guess, to end this video, is that I figured that after all, I wouldn't be taking Rosie with me to Europe. Rosie is such a sweetheart and I love her to bits, and she is such a beautiful cat. But she's a senior. She is an older cat. She is not a cat that would enjoy, not that any cat would enjoy, being dragged from country to country, from continent to continent. So she's just not gonna enjoy that. If I had a home in Europe where I was going to settle straight away, a very different story, but very possibly I'm gonna spend at least a year, if not longer, just being a digital nomad and just moving from place to place and exploring and looking, and she's just gonna hate that and it's not gonna be good for her. So I figured I would just rehome her. I would find a home. I'm gonna talk to some of my friends and see who is interested in maybe taking her, or I'll find a way to leave her with someone caring and loving and amazing, so that she's got a beautiful life. But I just can't give her a beautiful life when I am traveling Europe and spending all this time migrating from place to place until I figure things out. So that's a little bit of a heartbreak for me, to realize that she's not gonna be with me for the rest of her days, but that's just what it is. I feel called really strongly to go back to Europe. My parents are getting elderly. I really want to take care of them and be there for them. And, you know, my siblings, like, I just love them so much and I really want to be there and spend time with them. I know that I'm gonna miss her terribly, but I am also sure that for her this transition is going to be much easier than it's gonna be on me, because she's just gonna happily settle somewhere else and she'll be treated well, and, you know, like, she's a cat, she'll forget and she'll have a beautiful life. It will be me thinking about her and how amazing it feels to hold her in my arms and sleep with her and feel her soft, gorgeous fur against my skin and to listen to her purring. That's the reality of it, and I'm aware of it. Okay, well, it is beautiful sunshine outside, and I'm going to go out and lie in the sun for a little bit before I have my lunch. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys as always. Please make sure to watch all of my European vlogs because they are so fun and so exciting, and there is so much amazing stuff there that I recorded and I really, really wanted to show you. Thank you so much. Bye.